Welcome, everybody, to part 2 of our beautiful series of Enrichment for our kitties. It's not an optical illusion. We have the beautiful round table here, and you guys will do intros in just 1 second, but we have Madison today instead of Jay started running a terrible fever about an hour and a half ago, so she will not be joining us today, but no worries. The beautiful ladies are going to help pick up all the Jay slack.
We got this. We got this covered. Absolutely.
Adrian, you're doing great so far.
So far, so good? Okay.
You're doing great so far.
And you made it live, so we're already
For those of you guys that are watching, Jay usually does all the little button pushing in the back, so I've never done it before, and I wasn't quite sure if it was going to happen. Well, hi, Madison is here, and Robin. Hey, Sissy and Laura Lee. Suki, hi, you guys. Oh, yay. So last time it was it over a month ago now that we did the part 1?
Close to, yeah.
Yeah, close to month.
That is crazy. Don't forget to record. Laura Lee, record what? You're making me nervous.
No, StreamYard records for you.
I've made that mistake before, but I wasn't using StreamYard.
Hi,
I can't stop the tech. Oh, for goodness sake.
What?
I'm trying to share it to the Naturally Cats page, and the tech isn't working my end. But carry on. I'll sort it.
I thought it was awesome though, because last time we totally ran out of time talking about all the ways that we can bring enrichment to our kitties' lives, and I love that we're doing this part 2 because we're really going to cover some specific things. Because I think it's like all cats are individuals, and all cats really you can tell that they find certain things more exciting or enriching for themselves. I know that's the way it is in our cat family of 6 babies. They have different things that they love. And so today we're going to be covering how to enrich our cats' lives through food, through herbs, through energy, and really kind of dive into some of those specifics that are out there so we can all, give it a shot. I think that's what's fun with our little ones is finding out what they really love, and trying a bunch of different things kind of brings out the personality in our kitties. So I'm excited to dive into some specifics. But real quick, let's do it. For anyone new that's joining us, let's do a quick round the horn introduction. Dr. Katie Woodley, let's start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I love when we do these with these beautiful ladies. And so I'm Dr. Katie Woodley, the Natural Pet Doctor. I'm a holistic integrative veterinarian and founder of the Natural Pet Doctor. And I'm on a mission to make sure that the amazing pet parents like yourselves have the tools, the knowledge, the education to help integrate and implement nutrition, herbs, essential oils, Western herbs, all sorts of holistic modalities into your pets' lives to help them live a long and vibrant life. So you can check out more about me at thenaturalpetdoctor.com, and super excited to share more.
Thank you, Katie. Pam?
Hey, everybody. I'm here with Aylin, who is wanting a little snack. I'm founder of Perfectly Holistic, and I'm a holistic health coach, mainly working with cats. And so my passion is also educating and empowering pet parents, cat parents especially, on how to provide a more holistic approach to their cat's health and overall well-being, and just helping them find the tools that they need. And I am an expert in muscle testing, and that's my go-to tool to figure out and get answers. So that's what I love. So thank you guys for being here with us today. We're excited to be back.
Agreed. Julianne.
Yes. Echoing everything that you've all said already. Amazing ladies, amazing reasons for being together. And my mission is giving cats a voice. So I created Naturally Cats. Julianne Thorne created Naturally Cats. And my mission is to change the world's perception of cats. It's to, as Pam and Katie said, it's to support their guardians, their cat mums, their cat dads, to understand that every cat is unique. Every cat is an individual. They are sentient, they are sensitive, and they all need different things. So I am a cat communicator. I do cat chakra cleanses and rebalances. And I also work with herbs to support the emotional health and well-being of cats. So for me, it's really about helping the cat mums and dads to reconnect with their cats. And usually people come to me through having problems, problem behaviors, weeing around the house, issues with health. And, I use my tools to support them energetically, emotionally, and to help everybody find a bit of balance. So like the ladies have already said, thrilled to be here. These roundtable discussions, I think we all love them so much. It's a real great opportunity to connect with everybody, those that are here live, to be able to give our cats a voice. That's my passion. So yeah, that's me.
I know, I feel so bad Jay's not here. This is our favorite thing ever. That's so sad. Sorry, Jay.
We love you.
We miss you.
So, Dr. Woodley, let's talk a little bit about enrichment through food and why that's even. I mean, I think when we think about enrichment, we're always thinking about vertical space or playtime or something like that. Explain how food can be enriching and some of your favorite go-tos for kids.
Yeah, when you're 100% right. When we think about enrichment, we're always talking about, we joked about it the last time. It was like, add another litter box, add a cat tower, play with them a little bit more. And yes, those are all valid things that sometimes need to be done. But you might be here because you're like, I've already done those things. I've already implemented it. And maybe there's still some health issues that are going on or behavior problems, or you have some kitties that are potentially like fighting with each other. And you're like, what else can I do? And I love talking about food. I truly believe food is medicine. And a lot of our cats are being fed an inappropriate diet. So a lot of cats are on kibble diets, high carbohydrate diets. And if you've been here before, you've heard me say it over and over and over again. You've heard all of us say this. Cats are obligate carnivores. They need to be fed a high protein diet, and less processed will help them because it supports their overall health. So when we look at nutrition as an enrichment modality, this is where if you're not feeding a species appropriate diet, there's a lot of steps you can take to try to get your cats there. Now, I recognize some cats are kibble addicts. I have one sitting right next to me in the bed, and she was really hard to transition over to like a raw food diet. And not every cat does well with a raw food diet. But this is where if you're using something like freeze dried, this is a great tool and tactic that you can use for helping play to hide treats around the house. Because what do cats love to do? They love to play with their prey, right? They have a huge prey drive. They're just curious. They love playing. And that's a huge part that we can actually incorporate into their mealtime, into their playtime, is using these treats and also their meals to help encourage and enrich their lives. So some of the things that I look at and that you can do that don't cost a lot of money to integrate in some of these food options is you can actually take like a paper bag. Like, who here has a cat that loves like crinkly noises? This cat right here, she goes crazy. My other two cats, they're not as like interested. So we have 3 cats total. And so this is where having different tactics to apply to different cats, because they're all individuals. So getting a paper bag and getting some of your like freeze-dried treats, or this can be like freeze-dried organ treats. Even if you're feeding like a freeze-dried food, you can break it up into little pieces and hide it in a little crinkly bag. And this is also where I know Julianne's going to talk about the herbs, and she's going to talk about some of the things that you can use. But this is where you can rub like catnip or use silver vine. You can rub that on the outside of the bag, so you're drawing them to it. You can also take those bags or toilet paper rolls and close up the ends and put little treats in them, and you can create a little hole. So it's kind of like a slow feeder. So the cat has to play and engage with it to get it out. So these are great things to do before meal times or in between meal times. So they're a little bit hungrier. They're engaging in play. We're stimulating their normal play, prey behaviors. One of the other things too is that I talked about this yesterday in a talk, and introducing, a lot of people are afraid of using different types of foods. So not just raw, but this is where we can use like bones. And this is where people are terrified about bones, and especially with cats. It's not talked about very often, but we can actually use raw, meaty bones, never use a cooked bone. And we can use things like a little chicken wing or a chicken like wingette, and you can hold on to it and see what your cat does. Now, if you have a cat like mine, all 3 of mine were like except for Tico. He was used to wild like animals. He was outside and we rescued him. So he is very aware what a rabbit is and probably what it tastes like. However, the other two are like, what is real food? What is meat? What is a bone? What do we do with this? And this is where you can cut up little chunks of raw meat and get them used to the texture and using their teeth. And the act of chewing and kind of tearing and crushing and things like that is actually stimulating for them and helps release endorphins. Those are the feel-good hormones that really help calm them and help enrich their lives. But you're also getting them transitioned over to a better, more species-appropriate diet. So starting to transition them using some of these like raw bones, some raw meat, if they're not used to it, lightly searing it can increase their want for something like that. Some of the other bones too, rabbits are really, so they're going to be softer. The bones are more flexible. They're most likely not going to break or fracture teeth. And they're also appropriate size. So your cat's not going to chew. Now cats are smart. They're not stupid. They're like, they typically know that if something is too big or they're going to swallow it and have a choking hazard, they're not going to engage with it. So the biggest thing is kind of getting these cats that may not know what it is used to that. So I like introducing different types of foods, hiding the food, using it in play, using different resources like the bags, the toilet paper rolls, hiding those meals around the house, just, putting it on a little mat or a can, like the little jar tops. And you can put some food on there and put it by the cat tower, hide it behind the curtains, put it behind the scratching post. We've put food in like the bathtub. And so it's so funny when you hear the cat jump in the bathtub, they're like searching for food and it's stimulating them to look. Once they know it's there, right, they're always going to go back and make sure there's no little snack that's missing. But those are a couple easy, simple things that don't cost a lot of money to help people get started.
I have to say, I completely echo that, Katie. So Max came to us, he was 16 weeks old and he was fed wet food and dry food from the rescue place. And I want to get him onto raw. And we managed to do that because Leo had caught a bird. It didn't survive. I took it into Max to see what he would do with it. And he just looked at it. And it wasn't until and this is going to sound a little gross, but it wasn't until I kind of played with it with him and, moved it around that he was like, oh, Mummy, What is that? What have you got for me? Oh, this looks great. And then he was actually like excited and intrigued by it, And then I've got him some, we can get quails here in the UK. Yes. I don't know if you guys can get
those are great.
US. Yeah. So it turned up and it's a lot bigger bird than I thought it was going to be. It's not like a little robin. It's, they're chunky little things. So I'm there like, gloves on, like cutting up this. Oh my, it was a little bit gross, right? I won't go into details, everybody. But to cut a long story short, I had a quail like thigh, right? And it had the foot attached to it. Max had got into this realm of playing with it and enjoying with it. He was batting it around the front room. He did a little, the little pounce that they do. She says doing it live on camera. What an absolute nerd. And he was chewing at the thigh. And it got to the end where there's the claw and a little bit of leg. And I thought I was going to finish there, thinking I probably should have cut the foot off. Went to turn around. Next I know he's eating it. Like the whole thing. And I'm like, holy beep. I was like, oh, okay, good boy. Well done. That's great. Thinking,
instruction.
Yeah. But you know what? Like he had the best poo the next day. It was like, it wasn't stinky. It was solid. It was absolutely great. So your points about helping them to play with it, to engage with it, because it is new. And a lot of cats, they don't, those instincts are buried, and enrichment for me is about bringing that out of them. So I completely echo from experience with my own cats exactly what you said, spot on.
Yeah. And one funny thing following up with that. So we got some little dehydrated rabbit feet. So I'm so sorry for everyone that's like eating lunch or, this is just put it down and just wait for this to be over, but it'll get better, I promise. But your dehydrated rabbit's feet, and we got a gift of them. And I was like, I want to see what they do. Cause Tico is super like, we've got an infestation of rabbits in our yard because we don't have a dog anymore. And so they're just coming in and he's sitting there and he is like, I want them. And I was like, let's see what he does. And so I pull these things out, right? And they're gross, but you know, it's real food, right? And so I'm playing with him and he's like, ah, and I like throw it. And he's like sitting there. He's like, and Moki comes over, you know, Moki and his little bobbly head self. And he's like sitting there smelling it and like starts like licking it. And you know, I got Tico to gnaw on it a little bit. Kiwi was like, oh, give me a break. I'll have my freeze dried. Thank you. But, you know, it's so neat to see them. And then, you know, when they were not engaged with it, I removed it. That's key. You know, don't leave the things out. And I'm sure other people talk about it. Put them away so it doesn't become an old thing for them. And it becomes a novel thing each time you pull it out and they get excited. And it's the same with your food. It's the same with, you know, your toys. You want to be able to encourage them to engage with it. So those are just some of the like easy things that you can do. Chicken gizzards are another one to kind of get them used to chewing on things and stimulate their helps with dental health too. Because keep in mind, enrichment, physical, mental enrichment are all going to support optimal health. And so everything comes together to play a part for that.
And I love too that it's such a great reminder that I don't think a lot of us humans realize that we teach cats what food is. When we have an indoor kitty, you know, just those little adventures that you had with your cats of letting them know, like, this is what natural prey is for you, essentially, right? And that it's up to us to really give our cats that opportunity to give them that enrichment. I think it's fantastic. Real quick, hit on, because we get this question a lot. Dr. Katie, you mentioned if your cat is not, you know, used to the raw or whatever, you can lightly sear it. That does not go for bones. And explain to everybody who, you know, who may want to share some of their chicken wings that are cooked, why that is not a good idea.
Yeah. So when I say sear it, this can include, say, like a little chicken wing, but it's raw. What you're doing is you're increasing the flavor. So you're not actually cooking it all the way through. The reason why we don't want to feed cooked bones to our animals, dogs and cats, is because it can cause it to easily splinter. It's more likely for it to break apart and crumble and form an impaction in the gut. And so you definitely, whenever you are using bones, this is not the time to go to the pet store and get the smoked, like dehydrated bones. Those are awful. Those cause a lot of problems. More so those are for like dogs. I don't see those as much for cats. But if you are looking at, you know, doing some of these, this, you know, the quail, your chicken wings, your smaller, raw, meaty bones, you want meat around it. You want the tendons, the ligaments. Those are the things that are going to help keep them safe and also provide good chewing behavior for them. So when I say lightly sear it, this isn't to like cook the meal. This is to just kind of give it a little bit of flavor. If you're worried about it, because I know some people are like all or nothing, right? You're like, I just don't even want to go there. You could use a little bit of ghee or grass-fed butter and just put a little bit on there, not a ton, but cats love fat. And so that can be a good way to help get them used to it, and or at least start licking it and getting used to the texture of something that's so different for them. But yeah, definitely do not feed cooked bones if you're going to go that route.
Yeah.
And go ahead. No, I was just going to add a little side note to the bones. If you give your cat a raw bone, even a small bone, just be prepared that it could look like a murder scene by the time they get done with it. So make sure it's not on your beautiful white rug, because it will be a mess. I used to be able to get frozen whole quail in Houston, and I haven't been able to find it up here or in Whole Foods and places. I guess they were, I don't know, they stopped carrying it or something. But I would cut it up into, you know, good bite-sized chunks, and the twins would just, Gunner especially, he would grab that bone and he would run over to the doormat and he would sit over there and he would gnaw that thing until it was gone. But it was a bloody mess all over the floor. So
yeah,
be mindful of where you're doing that.
Yeah.
It's not neat.
Yeah, no, it's not it's not for the faint of heart either.
No.
Right. And
No.
God bless my vegetarian clients like that feed raw. I'm just like, you guys are so committed, and it's amazing to see, because they know that their pets are not vegetarian. And so, you know, but it can be really hard to stomach sometimes watching them, because it's just, they
what
have a
do.
huge
It's nature,
prey
right?
drive, and
Mhm.
that's part of their natural behaviors. And so being able to give them that gift, it truly is a gift, because a lot of us keep our cats indoors, and they don't have that ability to engage outside that they normally would. And we need to do as much as we can to bring that inside for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
I love that you mentioned too, just how much, that prey drive is so important to cats. Cats evolved to truly enjoy the hunt. And I think a lot of times people think, well, their indoor kitties don't need it, right? They don't need to have to hunt. And that's where you can find a lot of behaviors. We'll talk about that when they don't have that outlet and they don't have that enrichment of being able to hunt and all of that, just really engage in that prey sequence. That's when you start seeing some other behavioral issues. And so many times, we think of it as play, but this is a really specific instinct that these kitties have, is that as little predators, but also prey animals, their ability to hunt and to practice that kind of prey drive thing is so important for their overall wellness. So it's not just about finding something new and hopefully not too messy to help enrich them. It really does help their state of mind. The enrichment that food can bring is really incredible. Absolutely incredible. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, now for the next topic that I think everyone is waiting for. I know Mr. Bob Lupton over here is waiting. Herbs.
Yeah.
I think we all have a herb garden, and I think that it's fascinating to see how self-selection works with kitties and how some cats really love the rosebuds and others really love the valerian root. Like it's fascinating, but let's dive a little bit deeper into how there's way more than just catnip or silvervine that can be enriching, and how we sit with our babies.
Oh my God, this is one of my most favorite ever topics. I know that's not good English, but I could just talk about this all day long. So let me do a time check, because I really want to hear Pam's energy piece. So I'll make sure that I don't take up all of the time, but you're absolutely right. So herbs, herbs, however you say it, they are amazing. And when I learned about self-selection many years ago, my mind was blown when I saw a cat interacting with dry herbs and flowers. The first thing I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And my trainer was like, it's fine, just watch it. Mind blown. I mean, we've just mentioned about their instincts, to have this hunt, this prey drive. That is an instinct. It's not just a nice behavior. It's not just a nice thing to do. It's an instinct. They have the instinct to know what they need to heal. So it's called zoopharmacognosy, which translates loosely to animal remedy or animal medicine knowing, whichever way you translate it. But it's about the cat knowing what they need to heal. And what we need to do is give them the capacity to do that. So as Katie said, a lot of people have indoor cats for many, many reasons. And this isn't the indoor versus outdoor debate, because it is whatever is right for you and your cats. So it's important that if you have an indoor cat, and actually Leo is an outdoor cat and we've still got a herb garden down, that you provide them with enrichment. So a herb garden isn't just, a nice thing to roll around on, right? A lot of people put down catnip toys, and the cats are going crazy because they want to get at the catnip. They want to potentially ingest the herb or flower, inside the toy. So, it's like someone saying to you, here's a gorgeous piece of cake that you can look at and sniff, but you can't eat it. I mean, like, that's just mean, right?
That is mean.
That's mean.
Yeah. So let's open up those toys. Let's get the herbs out on the floor. So a herb garden is where you get a towel or a blanket or like a tea towel, anything. You put it in a nice quiet corner of the home. Now, I recommend a quiet corner of the home so that it's not somewhere that's got heavy foot traffic. And as you said, Adrienne, cats are predator and prey. So they need to feel safe to enjoy the healing. They need to be able to feel vulnerable to heal. So a nice quiet space in the home, and you put down some dried herbs or flowers, a good pinch in each corner. So catnip is the obvious. We all know that cats like catnip, but not all cats are actually affected by catnip. Only about 70% of cats have the I can't know what it's called.
Receptor.
Thank you. to interact with catnip or to feel the effects of it. So, you can try catnip and you might think my cat's not bothered. In that case, I would really recommend valerian root. It smells like sweaty feet. I say that every time, and it's really gross. Like, I can't stand it.
It's not that bad.
Really? Oh my God, no.
Remember we had the conversation, I sometimes drink it in a tea form for bedtime. I know. It's mixed with like lavender and chamomile. Okay. So not just drinking sweaty feet. Okay. So it's not just sweaty feet. And I don't have a sweaty foot fetish thing. Don't worry. There's none of that.
It's a floral feet. It makes it sound no better.
Just walk around sniffing sweaty feet. It's great. It's my enrichment. No, I don't. Everyone, that was sarcasm.
You're in a whole new light now, Katie Woodley. Okay.
Anywho, keeping it interesting.
Let me rephrase that. To me, it smells like sweaty feet. To others, may think it is beautiful and floral and really enjoy the scent of it.
It's a tea.
As a tea, I never said I enjoyed the scent of it. It's to relax myself, so I can.
Okay. I'm going to move us on. So you can enjoy it as a tea or as a dried herb. Excuse me. So basically, herbs have the properties to heal and help your cat. Now, we've talked about their mental health. We've talked about their emotional state. Adrienne mentioned that if they don't have the capacity to use this hunt drive, excuse me, you will most likely develop problem behavior. So urinating around the home, over grooming, excessive scratching, excessive vocalization. And by putting down some dried herbs and flowers, you can help your cat to deal with their emotions, essentially, deal with stress, anxiety, aggression. And what happens is when they work with the herbs, which can be a variation of ways, so they might rub or roll around on them. They might sit next to or near them. They may ingest them. And yes, it is okay if cats do that. They know exactly what they need. This is where you need to hand over control. This is where we need to trust that our cats know what they need to heal, and we give them the option to do so. And when you do that, we give them a voice, we give them a choice in what they need in that moment. So, for example, Leo, he's a nervous cat. He was previously feral. He's not used to humans. My mum comes over, excuse me, and he takes one look at her and goes and runs out the back of the house. Now, that's my mum's not overly scary, but she's just a different human. So Leo's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out of here. Now, I can pretty much guarantee overnight, I'll top up our herb garden in the dining room, and I bet you any money Leo will have used it overnight. So he won't use it in the moment because he's got to go outside to feel safe. But when he comes into the home, he will use it to deal with his stress, his anxiety, his nervousness. So there are different herbs that you can use for different things. Now, a shameless plug. I have written a book called The Aromatic Cat, and it talks all about herbs, hydrosols, and essential oils and how you can use them safely. And the reason I mentioned the book is because we put in there 40 different profiles. So I've covered all the herbs that I've got, and it tells you how to use them. So, for example, if you've got a cat that's nervous, look at the gorgeous love looks there.
I'm having a moment.
Gorgeous, completely in awe. Oh my goodness. Though I did see a tail flick then, which makes me think like, is it about to go crazy? Oh look, I kiss myself. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, she's so precious.
It's just lovely. I'm so distracted by the gorgeous.
I didn't feel on your show. Sorry, focus.
No, it's fine. So different herbs for different things. If you've got a nervous cat, valerian's great. It helps reduce stress and anxiety. It's also got calming properties. As Katie said, it's got sedentary? No. What?
Sedative.
Thank you. Property. That's not the right word. It's calming. Let's just say that. And like, if you think about humans, if you were having a cup of chamomile tea, if you're quite stressed, chamomile is really calming. It's great for nervous cats. If you've got a cat that's got an upset tummy, peppermint, brilliant, lovely and cooling on the digestive system. Ginger can be quite warming, but it depends, whether they're vomiting or they've got diarrhea. Marshmallow root is another one that helps with the mucous membranes in the body. So there's a variety of herbs that you can use for different things. So you can put a garden down that contains a mixture, one for digestion, one for emotional support, one to support behaviors, or you can do one excuse me, that is just, for example, all about anxiety. So like Rose is really nurturing, Hops is quite calming, particularly if you've got an aggressive cat. Excuse me 1 second.
Hairball.
Sorry. So herbs are, in my opinion, just as important as a litter tray, just as important as a scratching post, because we need to give our cats the capacity to cope with their emotional, mental, and physical state. And when you put them down, that's the hard bit, right? That you don't have to do anything else. Okay, you may have to hoover them if the cat decides to go like one of Katie's does and goes crazy and rubs and rolls around and it goes everywhere. You know,
Hoover them?
Like vacuum.
Hoover.
Now,
Hoover vacuum.
Hoover them.
Vacuum.
Yeah.
He hoovers them.
Hoover them.
I think Kiwi likes that idea. She likes her garden hoovering.
You got Adrian that time.
The hard part's putting them down or hoovering them.
Yes. Yes, because some cats may look like they've never gone near it. Some cats will just literally like walk past or just sit next to them. And that's generally the more timid cats, the more nervous cats. They can't kind of let go, let loose. You know, the cats that generally go a bit crazy, they're quite kooky, they've got, you know, they're quite confident. Those are more likely to be the cats that will rub and roll around and upside down everything, and put herbs all over the floor.
Yep.
You agree, ladies?
Totally agree.
I would totally agree. Yeah, I think that is fascinating. I know that.
So, go on.
No, the rolling around thing, though, I think it's so fascinating to watch it. Like, it really does help bring out personality in your cats. Right? It's so fascinating to me to watch how different cats react or interact with different herbs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's different herbs are needed at different times, you know, so it's not a question of like always having one down. It's important to rotate them, to offer different ones. And if you know, like I sell the gardens, right? So I sell like 6 packets in one. And if you're not sure or you've not got much left and you don't know what to put down, use the packet and let your cat sniff it, you know, see what reaction they give you. Because if they give you the slow blinks or you see their nostrils flaring or they dive their head straight into the bag, it's a good indication you want to put a pinch down, you know. Yep. If they're kind of like have a sniff and walk away, don't waste it, you know, save it for next time and see what they do. Everyone's smirking. Is there something going on in the comments that I need to read about?
Yes, Bob's comment. I love it.
Bring back the herbs. He also said brilliant book. I have to say too, explain a little bit more about the book. This is not a shameless plug. This is
it's important.
It's helpful.
It's so helpful. And it's not just something that you've got to read, you know, from cover to cover. You really explain a little bit about how people can navigate the book and why it's so helpful.
Okay, thank you. So the book was written to bust the myths because everybody thinks that essential oils are bad with cats and you can't use them with cats. And, you know, completely disagree. So I know those of us on the call will use them in different ways, but you can use essential oils with cats. So the book was written to help people understand self-selection. So we've got a few pages in here which talk about what different remedies you can use. So essential oils, herbs, hydrosols, which are like in between essential oils and herbs in terms of concentration. Then we've got a list of, we've got information about how to use them. So do you apply them topically? How do you make gels and, you know, application of them? We've got some lovely illustrations. You see Nyana's cat there eating her fresh herb garden. Absolutely beautiful, which is grasses. I'm going to talk about those in a minute after you've heard from the gorgeous Pam. And we've got different options for different problems. So we talk about a flea and tick option. We've got over grooming, noise, change, fear, aggression. You know, and then we've got profiles. So we've got 40 profiles for an essential oil. We talk about a bit about the history of it, and then physical and behavioral uses, and then how you can use those remedies. And there's 40 different profiles in there. So, you know, we cover catnip, valerian, bergamot, lemon balm, there's a whole range in there. And then at the back, we've got some tables. So we've got tables that cover basically conditions, so nervous system issues, reproductive issues, respiratory issues, digestive issues, and we list you the essential oils and the herbs to offer for those. So it's not like a novel. It's a useful, what's the word, like guide, I would say. Yeah. So when the idea of this for us was to write it so that anybody could pick it up, they could understand self-selection, and they could use it themselves with their cats, because it can be really simple, and we understand people are fearful. We talk about why that is. We talk about why there's been bad press, and it's to do with misuse. It's misuse of anything, and that's not just remedies. That could be supplements, it could be medication. It's not limited to this complementary modality. It's about, we wanted to help people understand how to use it safely. So that's what we covered in the book.
It's just fantastic. I really recommend it. People that are just looking into it and really don't have a whole lot of insight. It's such a comprehensive guide. Really, really fantastic. You were about to talk about grasses, and this is something that I'm super excited about. People ask quite often, like what is cat grass and what is best for my kitties. And Dr. Katie, I know you use cat grasses as well. Mm-hmm. So open up everyone's eyes into the world of grass.
Okay, so you can use different options. It doesn't have to be just one, but it is, in my opinion, super important. And I'd love to hear what Pam and Katie think as well. So from my perspective, there are several reasons to offer it, to grow it in your home. If you don't have it outside, if your cat doesn't have access to outside, it's important to grow it indoors. And if necessary, go outside and cut a bit of grass and bring it in, right? Do whatever you can.
Just make sure it's not sprayed.
Yes,
that's a huge thing. So if your neighbors are spraying, that drifts over too. So if you don't have a clean source, grow it yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Great point. So you can offer a variety. It's not just one. There you can offer. You can grow. It depends how green fingered you are. I can only grow one type, and that's using a really simple kit because I can't grow anything. So you can offer wheat grass, oat grass, barley grass, and rye, and they grow differently. There are different textures. For me, for example, like barley grass, the tips are so nutrient dense. So you will find that generally cats, if you've grown cat grass, they will probably just eat the tips of them, or you will see them pick out certain blades and eat them. Mm-hmm. Again, part of self-selection in play, because the blades of grass will smell different. So it's about a nutrient hit. It's about fiber as well. So yes, some cats will eat to make themselves sick, but not all the time. So like Max, for example, he eats grass pretty regularly, and I've noticed it comes out in his poop, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a worm. But it's not. I'm there with my I know you are as well when you check your cat's litter trays.
Yes, he is.
Checker, and it comes out, so he's using it as fiber in his diet for whatever reason. So grasses are really important, and if you don't have access to a fresh natural source, it is important to grow your own, and you can get really simple kits online, really, really simple. Anybody else, anything to add? Katie and Pam, what are your thoughts?
We use it. I mean, I grow it all the time. What's really fascinating, Tico, our recent rescue cat, he is obsessed with it, and he's learned that when it's growing, they sit on our windowsill in our kitchen above the sink. He literally jumps up there and he gets on it, and he's knocked him over a few times because he's like, is it ready yet? And I'm like, Mister, you need some patience. Like, it's not ready yet. And so we just use kits, and we get organic seeds, and they're just so easy to grow. You can't mess it up, honestly. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing I find is that sometimes I just don't have enough growing to replace them. But ours is typically, I think this one's like a barley grass, and Tico mows it. He eats like a cow on it. He actually chews through it. So so it's interesting watching that. And Kiwi I find she tends to eat it more if she's our more sensitive GI tract. And so she sometimes will vomit it up, and then she goes and eats her normal food. So she is using it in a slightly different way than Tico is. And then this one back here, Moki, he's not as much into it. And I don't know if it's because he has cerebellar hypoplasia. So he has some like limitations with the way his head moves around and his intention tremor. But he'll be interested. I never see him actually eating it. So each cat's different. They're just, I feel like the nutrient, like you said, high in chlorophyll helps with, their digestion. It's a great source of fiber, and it's a nice added benefit to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Pam, how about your two? What do they do in terms of grasses?
Well, I bought these cat grass seeds that I planted and put in these little pots outside on the patio. So they have 2 of those, which they do use, but then they have this backyard now of grass. And so I almost get offended because they go and eat different parts of the grass in the yard. I'm like, but I just made you some cat.
I grew this especially.
I spent a lot of time planting them. I almost get offended. But no, it's funny. I like to give them the variety. And they want certain kinds of grass, like you said, because there are different textures. They probably taste differently, I'm sure. But I guess it just depends on what their body's telling them it needs at the moment.
Yeah.
Where do you guys find your kits? I know there are a couple of people asking, is oat grass the best? Where do you find barley grass? Where do you guys have a recommended place to find cat grass?
I bought a package at Sprouts. It's organic cat grass seeds. So I just put it in some potting soil in a pot. Very, very low tech. So anybody.
Garden centers. Just go to a garden center and look for your organic seeds.
Wherever the seeds are, they usually have a cat grass.
So you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to buy it online. If you're close to a garden center, just walk in there, and usually you can get them in the seed section. I mean, there are kits, like we've gotten some kits on Amazon, making sure that they're organic. But it doesn't have to be super complicated.
No, and actually, like, it doesn't, oat isn't the best, barley isn't the best, like Pam said, rotate them, alternate them, try different ones, see what your cat likes. You may find your cat prefers one more than the other. It is down to the cat and what they like. So this was a kit that somebody shared with me. I don't use the seeds. It does say it's 100% natural, but I prefer to get normal seeds. So this was a kit from Amazon. It's a Webbox kit. And basically you get a packet of seeds, which I haven't opened, and you get this, what's called a substrate, which is like, it looks like crummies. It looks like, can you see that?
Yeah.
Like,
it almost looks like little gravels.
It's weird. It's like spongy, but I tell you what, it shoots up within like 3 days. They're like, Max is very much like yours, Katie. It's not even grown like half an inch and he's chewing at it. Can't wait for it. Yeah. But this stuff, it grows so much quicker. When I put it in soil or compost, it takes like nearly 2 weeks to shoot up. Like, I don't understand. So I know, and that's what I mean. So I use the substrate, but I use organic seeds from the garden center.
I've used the little, because they work really well with the little kits, the little dehydrated soil discs that you put water in and it goes whoop. It's like fascinating. So I've used that, and I've actually so typically it takes like 3 to 4 days for it to start growing, and then it takes away as long as Tico doesn't come along and mow it down too fast. So, I use the soil. So, but they're little dehydrated discs. We get those online, but those have been really helpful too, and nice and easy to use.
Brilliant. I'll check those out. I mean, when you get a big kit like this, don't sow the whole thing, right? I've got a tiny little pot, and I take out a couple of spoonfuls. So like you said, you've got the opportunity to grow it, frequently.
And it doesn't last forever. So that's it. No. Like, that's key. Like what you just said, you can waste a lot of, like, they can't go through all that, and then you end up having to throw it away once it's like, it's done. It's like kind of wilty, or I find you also have to be careful too. Like, the soil can kind of get a little bit like moldy. So you want to throw that away, obviously. But you don't want a ton of it growing at once unless you've got a lot of cats that are using it. But it's nice to have smaller ones in different areas where they can each have their own. rather than having to wait their turn because some might not be able to partake depending on personalities.
And it doesn't reseed either. So it, like you said, once it comes up, it's beautiful. You know, you got the lovely green shoots, but then if they chew a bit or cut a bit off, it doesn't regrow. So
yeah,
you know.
How long is it, roughly? Because this is something that we keep thinking about doing and still haven't done. When you're talking about it comes up, it takes 3 or 4 days to start coming up, and then how long does it last before it's like, ooh, actually, this is time to toss it?
like a week.
I would wait. Yeah,
about a week.
Yeah.
It would last. So you could have like every 3 days you're starting a new one to like rotate or
that's
that
the dream.
type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who was that?
Blue asked.
That was Aylin.
That was
Nice
Aylin?
to see her. It's usually winner, isn't it? Yeah.
She wants something.
Sorry, Adrian. What were you going to say, love?
Look, it's almost lunchtime. I'm going to slaughter this word, but what can you tell us about
Romania?
Romania? What is that?
That's an herb. That's an herb used in I know several different herbal medications, but one's for kidneys.
Yes, it's a common Chinese herbal remedy. So it actually increases blood flow to the kidneys. So it's commonly used. There's a common Chinese herbal formula used in cats for chronic kidney disease called Romania 8 combination. And it utilizes that. So it increases blood flow to help support kidneys. And I use it all the time, depending on the pet and the pattern that they're showing to help lower kidney values and bring values back down to sometimes even normal. So you could always use, this is where like the whole principle of self-selection, you could get some dried organic Romania and put it down. So rather than using, Chinese herbs and pilling them or medicating, this is where it becomes a lot easier with your cats to get some from, I use a lot of mountain rose herbs in the States. They're fantastic and they have organic products, and put some down alongside the rest of the herbs that Julianne was talking about, and they can self-select and see what they need. Because some cats, they don't fit the pattern of Romania. We actually need to use herbs that are going to kind of act like an ice pack to help kind of calm down an inflamed kidney. So if they're in like the beginning stages of kidney disease, Romania isn't always the first herb that I'm going to, but that's one that comes up quite a bit for cats and kidney disease. So you'll see it in other supplements too, Pam, you're mentioning. Very, very common herb.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about energy. I can't believe how fast time is flying.
It's all good.
I think this is such a fascinating topic, and most people here, I think, are kind of familiar with what you do and how you bring enrichment to many of us that are actually here today. But for any newbies in the house, explain what this is and how it can really be so enriching for our cats.
Well, one of the things that you have to think about, and Julianne and I were talking about this last week when we did a collaboration, is you have to be willing to see what's not seen sometimes. And that's kind of deep for people, but sometimes, especially when considering energy is not something that can be seen, but it is so powerful. And whether it's a positive aspect or a negative aspect, it can be very powerful. And so when you want to consider how to create a more enriched environment for your cats, sometimes this can involve adding positive or helpful energy, as well as removing negative and unhelpful energy. So sorry, I got cat fur all over my nose.
The joys of being a cat mum.
just this fur is flying everywhere. So like, I work in the energy realm, I guess you could say, with muscle testing and all of that. And I work in doing energetic clearings and things like that removes stress energetically from the cat, from the person. So that helps like remove like an invisible force field of something that's impeding their well-being or vitality on some level, so that their body can come back into balance and just kind of go, oh, okay, I can relax now. I cannot be so stressed. Things in the body can relax and not be so stressed and get back to healing and homeostasis and things like that. So some of the things that I came up with, it's just something as simple as color therapy can be hugely helpful for cats who need to change their energetics in their environment to help them. And color therapy is all based on the vibrational frequencies of colors and what those frequencies give off. And they can be very, very helpful. Pink, for example, can be very helpful for healing. So if there's a sick cat, if a kitty just had surgery, offering a pink towel or a shirt or a blanket or something like that, they just tend to gravitate to that color. It's wild. The color green is very grounding. So think of green grass. We go outside, it's very calm, it's soothing to sit on the earth, connect to the earth. So it's very comforting and very soothing. It provides a sense of security and calmness for a cat who is the opposite or going through stressful periods of time. So color green is really good to use. Color baby blue is really good for cats who are very fearful and afraid. So I love using that if you have to take them to the vet or they're in a scary situation, lightning, thunder, whatever it is, baby blue is really great. And then the color yellow also corresponds to the solar plexus, and that's where you have all your digestive system and those associated organs. So yellow represents warmth. It's cheerful. It's mentally stimulating. So it's great for increased muscle energy, and it can actually encourage. It stimulates the nervous system. So, and it builds confidence too. So, for example, if you have a cat who's just kind of grumpy and just pouting and upset about something, throwing down yellow is great. And then orange is also another great color you can consider. So it brings a sense of optimism and positivity and warmth and happiness and things like that. And I know Julianne works with chakras a lot. So if there's a health issue that has to do something with the sacral chakra or the solar plexus chakra or the heart chakra, those colors are orange, yellow, and green. So, think about if they are having some kind of ailment or, emotional issue related to those areas or physical issue related to those areas, just offering those colors can be really, really great for enriching their environment, but also their just sense of well-being energetically. It can be amazing. And one thing that we don't think about is animal communication. So if you're not quite sure what your cat wants, ask him. Get with an animal communicator and ask your cat, what can we do to make your environment more fun? Or what do you want? What do you want me to bring you? How can we, what toys do you prefer? What time of day do you prefer to play? Find out these things. Do they like to go outside? Do they want to be harness trained? Do they want to be exploring in their gardens and their yard and sniff around? Or they just prefer to be inside because they feel more comfortable, more confident, and not in an outdoor kind of environment. So I think animal communication is overlooked a lot because they can share so much with us if we just give them the chance to tell us, so that might be fun. And then one of the things that I do all the time, like I've mentioned, is energy clearing. So cutting those cords energetically, breaking the stress response that run through the meridians of the body and the neural calming points along the forehead can truncate that stress response that they might be going through. If there's disresonance with another pet, if there's disresonance with a person, we become stressors a lot of times to our pets and we don't realize it, but we do things to make them mad. Like, I'm sure she's back there crying because I'm not opening the door, so I can become a stressor like that. So it's, join the club. It's normal. So, stuff like that. And then I also started doing mind, body, spirit release, which is a modality that identifies and clears cellular imprints from negative traumas and experiences. And you want to talk about seeing a shift in your animals, and in their environment, in their space, and all of that. Holy cow, it's incredible. It's incredible to see them go from, sad, anxious, upset to calm, happy, and like nothing ever happened. And you're like, what? Just clearing that energy. It's powerful. It really is powerful.
I think so often, I mean, we're talking about a number of different ways to bring enrichment, but Pam, especially your practice, I find so fascinating, because I think that a lot of people will find you at the end of a conventional rope trying to deal with something.
All the time.
And I really feel like what a valuable conversation this is, because, even like Laura Lee here said, she had her first experience with an animal communicator at the fundraising event with the Advanced or Animal Communication Collective for Heidi's Village recently. Fascinating. That was on Saturday. But I really feel like this is such a valuable conversation, because these are the kinds of things that can be done proactively, right?
Mhm.
In a way that's before there's an issue. We were in that reactive boat with our Pooh Bear, and we've shared that story many times, where we knew the minute you did something energetically, Pooh Bear actually
shifted.
Yes,
Yes.
it shifted everything.
Mhm.
So I really think that that's such a great reminder to all of us, that I know obviously we can't do all things for all of our cats all the time, but this is a great avenue of enrichment that people can really start exploring.
Mhm.
For them, but they can start exploring it now, and just before there's a real issue where you've explored everything else, you can really kind of dive in and see how powerful this is.
Right. And I'll give you an example just briefly. Let's say you're moving and you have an 8-hour car ride from one point to another. I've had clients recently who've had to do this. And so they scheduled an appointment with an animal communicator, and they told the cats their plan. We're selling our house, but don't worry, you're coming with us, and reassuring them that this is going to be the process. This is what they're going to see. And then we're going to all get in the car and we're going to go to this new place. And their trip was seamless. And these cats in the past have been, anxious and, just car rides. Cats just don't typically like car rides, period. But it can make life so much better. And you talk about environmental enrichment for 8 hours in a car with cats who don't want to be there. That's an environmental enrichment for everybody involved. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to, I guess, like you said, open your mind to other ways that maybe you haven't thought about that you can find to help better your cat's environment, whether it's on the way to the vet or it's, introducing a new pet, or just you're working from home now, and you've got more time to interact with them, and what can you do to make their day more fun now that you're with them more often? So there's just all sorts of different ways you could start thinking about ways to enrich their environment. There's just so many things.
Yeah, I mean, enrichment isn't just another litter tray. It's not just a scratching
No.
post. Enrichment. We are all doing the best that we can. You want to do more? Think of one thing. Like I've said before, think about your cat: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. The four of the many ways that you can view your cat. What's one thing you can do in one of those realms? Is there a way to work with them spiritually? To, like Pam said, cat communication, can you enrich their lives with, like Katie said, with nutrition, getting a puzzle feeder, or hiding some bits of food, or bringing in some healthier options into their existing diet? Is it putting down herbs to support their well-being? Is it about, like what you guys have said before, Adrienne, about understanding your cat as an individual? The bottom line of all of this, everything we've talked about, every cat is unique, every single cat, just like every single human, and that's the crucial point. That's the key takeaway. How do you do environment enrichment? You understand the specific needs of your cat, And if you've got many, it's cats, but you still understand their individual needs. And then you look at what you can do to support those, and help them as best you can.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well said. I can't believe we're already a little bit over time, but I know there's some exciting things, and I know anyone here who wants more of you ladies. You guys are all up to something here in the near future, I believe. Dr. Katie, let's start with you. I think you've got a webinar going on, a free webinar going on today.
Yeah, so we have a free webinar today where we're going to be covering some of the top ways that you can use natural remedies. So you'll hear some of this repeated again, going a little bit more. So that's 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time today. You can go to thenaturalpetdoctor.com to register, or just follow us on social media, The Natural Pet Doctor, and you'll see the registration link. There'll be a replay if you can't make it. And then also too, you'll get a free guide on how to introduce like simple ways to optimize the nutrition in your dogs and your cats. So definitely check that out, and we'll be doing a Q&A at the end also.
That's going to be fantastic. Pam, you've got an exciting show tonight. Is that right?
I do. Dr. Judy Morgan is on the Perfectly Holistic radio show tonight. So we will be broadcasting on my YouTube channel and Facebook, Perfectly Holistic Facebook page at 7 Central. So we're going to talk about feline longevity, and questions and comments welcome. So I'm excited to visit with her again. She's such a neat lady. I hope she does one of her rants.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she's got there's all sorts of stuff in the world right now. She's going to have one. Don't worry.
She's going to have a rant. I can't wait.
You definitely want to tune in for that tonight. What time is that again? And
7 Central.
7 Central.
7
And that's
Central.
going to be on your Facebook page and
YouTube.
YouTube. All right. And Julianne, you have a course coming up. Is that correct?
Oh, no, not yet. My first thing is on Wednesday, I'm doing a workshop about cats and essential oils. So if people if they've got the book and they want to learn a bit more, or they want to dip their toe into cats and essential oils, I've got a workshop on Wednesday. So obviously I'm in the UK, so a bit of a time zone switch. So it's 7:30 British summertime. So for the US, that could be a variation of times. But if you book your ticket, then you'll get the replay, which you can review and revisit. So we'll be talking about essential oils, how you use them, the pros, the cons, the do's, the don'ts. That's this coming Wednesday.
Great. And where do they sign up for that?
Eventbrite. So there's a link in my bio through Instagram at Naturally Cats, and I'll pop a comment in the bottom of the chat here so people can see that as well.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, ladies, thank you so much. You guys are so fantastic. You guys are such a great enrichment for this whole beautiful community. I really am so grateful for all of your time here today, and hanging out. Can't wait till the next one already. We'll have to pick another exciting topic. Before we wrap up, any closing thoughts? Anything that we almost covered but didn't quite? Did we miss anything? Anything top of mind?
One of the things that along with the herb gardens for my kitties, get a ripple rug for your cats.
Yes.
They love that thing. We have 2. Amazing. You put your herbs on it. You can hide treats in it. The ripple rugs are just like the coolest thing ever. So highly recommend a ripple rug.
You have the link for getting your ripple rug. The original real ripple rug is actually here, linked in the description. So please do that. All made in the USA, recycled materials, an incredible company doing amazing things for our kitties. So thank you for that. That is such a great enrichment reminder. The ripple rug. Julia, were you about to say something too?
No, I just herbs. Get herbs, try herbs, put down herbs, go for herbs, people. You got to try the herbs.
And try one of the funnest things I ever did was harness train my cats.
Yeah, grasses and harness training are on our summer list.
They are so fun. But I'll tell you, the key is get a harness that's comfortable. Because if they feel like they're the Michelin man, they're not going to want to move. They're not, it's terrible.
And make sure it's safe.
Make sure it's safe.
Yeah, so they don't wiggle out of it. We put Tico on one today, and some bunnies decided to try to engage with him, and he wanted to engage with them. So he was like a roaring stallion on it. Yeah. So grateful that thing was strong. He didn't slip out of it. He didn't run away. So
wow.
I was a little stressed. I'm not gonna lie.
The joys.
Maybe drop that link too. I know it's hard to find harnesses.
Yeah, it's so funny. You got to be patient, and you got to go with the cat. It's their pace
Do it
and their
slow.
choice.
Mm.
Totally their choice. Not all cats are wanting to go outside and explore.
Linda's asking, what is the link for the purchase of the Ripple rug? That link, the Ripple rug is actually linked here in the description of the video. So on YouTube and on Facebook, you should go to the video description and you will find it there. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. Everyone here joining us today, thank you so much for hanging out. Give all your babies boops, and we will definitely look forward to next time. And Jay will be all healed and back with back with us. In the
Lots of love today.
Yeah.
I will,
For
absolutely.
sure. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Have a good
Bye.
day.